So Sigewinne just came out. You know what that means. New story quest time. And as you can already read by the title, yes, this is the recap of the story quest, so let's get right into the video, shall we? As we were wandering around Fontaine, we discovered a shop and met Sigewinne on our way. She told us about this brand new skincare product and learned that Sigewinne is actually one of the leaders in the Fontaine Beauty Association. Then she told us an important story about her and well, she used to have a friend that felt sick, and as she tried to cure her, her parents rejected her. Then Sigewinne begged the witch for the potion that will turn into human-like face. She then came to cure her while holding her hand, and then never came back as her friend wouldn't recognize her anymore. Then they introduced us to the famous inventor of this product, who went by the name of Rawit, and this guy's face looked really handsome. He noticed Sigewinne in the crowd, so he called her out to try out his product. She approved it, and it was now for sale. As we are a famous traveler with our floating companion, he also gave us his product for free. The Rawit and Sigewinne had to go back to their business. However, we also had to get the list of ingredients, as Sigewinne told us that there is room for improvement of this product. As we get to the infirmary in Fortress of Markooby, we saw Sigewinne interacting with a patient. A patient confirmed that he saw himself, and they took him in for mental checkup. After dealing with this guy, we helped out Sigewinne by encouraging kids into consuming their medicine and pretending to be sick. Then Sigewinne mentioned to us her teacher that is already deceased, and that kids didn't want to mess with her, like they refused to do what Sigewinne tells them, unless scaring them, as they saw her teacher as a witch judging by her looks. Then eventually the guy who saw his twin seemed to recover and then wanted to leave the ward. After passing the test, he was finally able to leave the ward. After this guy, we went to sleep, and then once we returned back to the infirmary, there were loads of people in here this time. They claimed that their names are not what they think. Eventually we came to this conclusion that these guys are right, and that some people look like just them. Sigewinne also mentioned that this gang used a potion that can change someone's appearance. Then a Melusine by the name of Cease claimed that they stole Rawit's technology that he uses, and so we head to the Fontaine Research Institute. In there we interrogated some of the researchers about Rawit, and everyone had different impressions on him that we thought. Then our group of Marshall's Phantom officers came to us and told us that Rawit went missing and was last seen when promoting his skincare product. Then we went inside his mother's property, which the mother was mentioned by one of the researchers. Once we head inside, we saw his mother lying on her deathbed, barely still alive. We tried our best to cure her and everything, but even the doctor like Sigewinne couldn't help in this situation, and so we didn't get any useful information from her except Sigewinne touching her hand. What we did find though was a map which showed Rawit's private lab. We head inside the lab and eventually found the gang discussing about their plans. Eventually we showed up and then arrested most of the group. However, the leader managed to make his way to the top. This guy also had a nerve to let out a poisonous gas, meaning that we would not survive in this area for too long. Sigewinne then told the Fontaine guy about her potion that she made using our ingredients we picked up earlier, and he showed her a delivery pipeline, yet Sigewinne didn't trust him, and so he ended up opening the entrance door. Then we quickly left the lab before we passed out, and then caught the Fontaine guy heading to the house of Rawit's mother. But as the Melusine guard refused to let him in, the main villain himself then reveals that he was Rawit all along. He then told us his story, that the reason why he did the face swapping thing in the first place was to gain some love, as before people avoided him and only criminals worked with him. But the problem was that his mom didn't recognize him anymore, the one person who truly always cared about Fontaine himself. Sigewinne then let Fontaine see his mother once again, and yet now even with his normal face, she did not recognize him as she'd lost her eyesight. He even tried to make her recognize him by holding her hand, yet it still didn't work. However, when Sigewinne did it, she recognized her. A few days later we met Riotously and Novelette. They told us that Sigewinne actually once got locked behind bars for breaking an ancient law, which was the fact that she changed her facial expression. In there she treated more and more patients, and this way her sentence grew shorter as she kept doing it. When her sentence ended, she did not leave them, and that's how she became the head nurse that she is till this day. Then an old lady invited her over, and she revealed that she was a friend that felt sick at the beginning of the entire story. She knew that it was Sigewinne who cured her, and she remembered the warmth on her hand, which proves that this girl was Fontaine's mother this whole time. Too bad that her son's warmth had disappeared. This story then ends by us agreeing to destroy the face swapping potion, and since then, identity changes were never a problem in the world of Teyvat. At least I hope so. Either way, the story quest was another one of the really good ones, as it showed lots of lore and explained Sigewinne Sigewinne's entire backstory, not to mention that it's one of those stories where a case is getting investigated, which is pretty interesting as we were figuring things out, and the overall ending was great too. It was quite emotional and sweet despite the fact that the villain's mother didn't recognize him. But then again, villains always lose in the end. However, one thing I really don't like is that this story quest was a bit too long, basically 1 hour longer than, for example, Bedtime Story. And I have a feeling that they are making some of these quests a bit too long, as for some of us who value our time and also have other things to do, while these longer ones obviously just take more of our time, and it's kinda annoying. Otherwise, this quest had a fantastic story and overall lore about Sigewinne. Anyway, feel free to let me know on what do you think about this story quest. If you want to see more Genshin Impact lore and story recaps, then feel free to click on this video. Either way, thanks for clicking on this video and paying attention, and I guess I will see you all in my next one.